Welcome, Niels
Yeah.
and Jan.
Thank you.
Niels Brunner, you're the CEO of Scandion Oncology, and Jan, you're the CSO and also a co-founder.
That's true.
Correct.
Yes.
Niels, you're not totally unknown to the Swedish stock market before, as is Scandion Oncology as well, for some investors, as it's a spin-out from Saniona. Saniona, as of today, is still a main shareholder, though. Even though that some of us know about Scandion, could you please describe for us that do not know anything about Scandion what you guys do?
Okay. First of all, thank you for giving us the opportunity to present Scandion Oncology here today. I'm a medical oncologist and a cancer researcher, and Jan and I have worked for many years together at the University of Copenhagen and did an invention that we will talk about, and that is the basis for Scandion Oncology. And the focus of Scandion Oncology is drug resistance. And we'll talk a little bit more about drug resistance, what it means actually. There's something that I can look over here, I remember. So, as we have heard, it's a spin-out from Saniona. And prior to the spin-out, there has been an investment about 100 million Danish kroner because they actually finished a phase 1 study with this drug. But due to some pharmacodynamic changes they were not happy about, they stopped the development. And this drug was developed for a non-cancer disease, a genetic disease that has nothing to do with the cancer. But we took over when we did the invention. And they did 4 phase 1 studies with men and women and plus-minus eating and so forth. So it's a well-known drug regarding toxicity. It's a safe drug, very limited toxicity. We say it's a first-in-class cancer treatment. There's nothing alike. We don't know of any other company developing a drug like this one. For some reason, there are no major pharma companies that we know of that develop drugs that interfere with drug resistance, even though, as I will tell you, drug resistance is, from my point of view, the largest remaining problem in cancer to be solved. We can promise fast and low cost track results because we are the phase 1 study is done. Next is to go with the combination with chemotherapy as an add-on. And I'll give you a little bit more information about that. We have started production of the drug at Camprex here in Sweden, and we have good patents that have a long half-life, not half-life, life. Yeah.
Thank you. And looking at, sorry.
I think I will say a little bit more about this. So this about drug resistance. What is it? Look up here. Do any of you know how many people are killed in the traffic every day in Sweden? Anybody knows the number? In Sweden, how many people are killed in the traffic? One or less. One. Here we are looking at how many people are killed by cancer every day in Sweden. We're about 60. And the reason for this, the main reason is that the patients develop drug resistance. You know, antibiotic resistance, bacteria can develop resistance, so can cancer cells, and they do it, and the drugs do not work any longer, and the patients die. This is the challenge and the focus for Scandion Oncology. Yeah, sorry.
Super. And having a look at the people behind Scandion, at least from my perspective, it seems like you have quite a large experience.
Yeah,
and you also have, I noticed, a Swedish board member, right?
Yeah.
So how is the experience within Scandion Oncology towards oncology?
I think it's great. I think we gathered a very strong team for Scandion Oncology, and I think I will mention one person that many of you know from the newspapers. That is Carl Borbeck, who is head of the Cancer Center in southern Sweden, and He is the founder of several very successful Swedish biotech companies within cancer. So I think this is really important to Scandion Oncology, to having Carl Borbeck there. As I said myself, I'm a medical oncologist and a professor in cancer research and have large experience within biotech and cancer drug development.
So you've got the experience in the company, of course, and you have the experience to tackle the most of challenges, I guess. But as a broad question, what is the challenges in modern oncology?
I think we have the main challenge up here. This is the main challenge, that people are still dying from cancer. We have been able to send people to the moon, but we have a little bit less than half of all new cancer patients will die from the disease. Same in Denmark, same in other EU countries, same in the States. So this is the major challenge. We are seeing new drugs coming up, but still more and more people are dying from cancer.
And in Scandion, you have a strong asset.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but this asset has passed its 4 clinical phase 1 studies, correct? Can you tell me a little bit more about that, into details and what that actually means?
Yeah, I think we'll go to this slide here, and you can take over here.
Thank you very much. The previous slide was actually a little bit more about the chemotherapy that we are focusing on. So the fact to the far right is actually why we're in the business, because most treatment failures are due to chemotherapy resistance in cancer, as Niels also mentioned. So coming back to your question, Sebastian, what are we doing? What is the drug? The drug, as you rightly say, has passed 4 phase 1 clinical trials with altogether 92 patients in a non-cancer indication. There were some previous data that we came across where they actually tested this. It's a small molecule, so it was tested for other reasons if it had any anti-cancer effects. And one of these studies actually showed that when you, in a rat, put cancer cells into the rat and put chemotherapy on, you saw little effect. If you put our drug in, SCO-101, you saw little effect. However, the trigger for us was if you combined these 2 drugs, you saw a synergistic effect. So it worked much more potently. So this was the first data we saw, which kind of tricked us. Next is that in our work at the university, we have, as Niels also said, had a lot of focus on chemotherapy resistance. So we developed a screening platform with chemotherapeutic resistant cell lines, because this is the main problem. So what you can see here on the screen is that when we test this drug in combination with chemotherapy, on the upper side you see docetaxel, which is used for breast cancer. On the lower side you see SN38 or irinotecan, which is used for colorectal cancer, our 2 main indications. You can see the percentage to the right. When you combine our drug with chemotherapy, you restore to a large degree the sensitivity of the resistant cell lines. So this is the basis.
And so the market size and the potential market that your drug candidate actually addresses. Can you?
Yeah, I mean, with the numbers that Niels presented, or what we have here, I guess you can get almost any numbers when you work with cancer. You can really pump it up high if you wish. So we didn't want to do that. We want to be thorough and honest. So therefore, we had this company, Cortris, a Danish company, to do a thorough, independent analysis of the market size. And the way they did it was that they identified how many numbers of metastatic cancer patients are there in breast cancer and in colorectal cancer, and how many of these patients are actively undergoing chemotherapy treatment with the drugs that we are working on, that are presented on the slide before. And this number summed up to 180,000 patients, sorry. And with a cycle of 4,000 euros price, it sums up to plus 4 billion in annual peak sales, which is of course a number that can be modified, but it tells you that there's a huge market and there's a huge potential for revenue.
So we have a room here full of potential investors, so talking about funding wouldn't probably be totally wrong. have you, to do the continued and planned development of Scandion and your candidates, have you any plans for funding?
Yeah, so here is the timeline, actually starting at 2002 when these phase 1A trials were performed. And you can see Scandion was established in 2017. And we had a private placement round in end of 2017. And now we are planning to raise more money so we can do our clinical studies. And there are different options that we are looking into now. And of course, there's also a reason to be here today.
And more than just the funding, what is the next step for Scandion?
Yeah, so the next step is that we are ready to combine SCO-101 with standard chemotherapy, these two drugs, the taxanes and irinotecan, that are being used every day in oncology, and then test whether we can reverse the resistance. And I could just add to Jan's presentation that these metastatic cancer patients, 100% develop resistance. It's not just some of them. When they are metastatic, they will all develop resistance. So there's a lot of these patients. So we are ready for what we call the phase 2 study with a small run-in phase. And then it's calculated that we need to treat 15 patients, breast cancer patients, and 15 colorectal cancer patients. And if we have one responder, we have a success, because none of these will respond. They're coming from progression while they're getting the chemotherapy.
Thank you, Niels and Jan.
Welcome.
So, any questions for the gentleman? Do you have anything you want to complete with? No?
No.
Then I will want to say, if you don't have anything you want to more address, I want to say thank you for you participated on Sedermeradagen.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you.